me tweet out. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Yo, Shepard, what's up, man? Sorry, just getting the stream set up. All the details. Time. Yo, Keith. How we doing, man? League of Legends. There we go. Let's take a look. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. All right, there we go. That might find your coverage of. Hey, thank you. You know. All right. Actually, let me separate this. I need to drag over here. All right, I'll let you all pick since you're the early comers of the chat. I'll run a poll. Well, there's only 7 people across YouTube and TikTok, which no sense doing a poll. I can just ask you all directly. Which one should we watch first? The Flyquest video or the Team Liquid video? The Team Liquid video is talking about the greatest team in League of Legends history, so it's about T1. And the Flyquest video is about how professional League of Legends has a fun problem. So we got 2 of them to get through. Probably going to take about an hour and a half, I'd imagine. If I have time for a game afterwards, I will, but if not, otherwise we're just watching content. Hear me out. What if I just close out SoundCloud? TL first and Flyquest. Okay, that's the first one I've seen here. So sad Lion didn't knock out HL. You and me both. You and me both. Would have been great to have 4 LCS teams at Worlds. Would have been so funny. So that fifth match draft bad? Yeah. Fly first, in your opinion. I got 2 fly first. I got 3 fly first. I want to see. All right, current opinion is Flyquest video over Team Liquid video. I'll give it like 30 more seconds and then we'll kick it off.
Using your phone?
A little bit, yes.
When you're done with it, can I use it?
In a bit then, yeah.
Let me know.
Corporate Mundo and
All right, 4 LCS teams would have been... Bro, we don't want that. I mean, we'll get a taste of it here with Sentinels at AWC. It'll be like a mini taste of what it would have been like. But we don't... I mean, if we earned it, we earned it. That's all I'm saying. All right, I didn't see any more things come in. It sounds like it's going to be Flyquest is going to be the video of choice to start off. Seems to grow a lot of MSI this year. Actually, that has me curious. Really quick. Social Blade. Let's see what Social Blade says relative to... I don't think it's been any more than normal. +1 video, +10, +20, +10. 10 plus 20. Last 30 days. So our weekly average is 4. Daily average is 6. Last 30 days there. Checking out Studio. Analytics. 28 days will be like a good margin. I think it's been pretty steady at MSI. The views have been nice, but I'm pretty sure the growth has been steady. Yeah, subs has been a little bit more. There was one day where I lost like 5 subs. A potential MSI preview as Brazil tries to upset. This, I think, lost me like a lot of Brazilian followers on this day for whatever reason. But beyond that, everything else has remained exactly the same. So we're chilling. Green is good. Green is same as normal. So, but it's been good. I'm hoping we hit 10K before Worlds, because like the math on that, it's gonna be close. If I'm gaining, so we're at 10,000. Well, if we want to hit 10,000, 10,000 minus what are we at right now? 9323. We have that to go, divided by an average of 180, means 3.7 months, which means by the time Worlds is done, should be very close. Like we should be there by Worlds if pace keeps up. But anyways, all right, let's get into this FlyQuest video. Professional League of Legends has a fun problem. See what you got to say.
Tournament of 2026.
Also, shout out to Turn Down for Walt, who is the guy doing the commentary for this. He's working with Flyquest on it. He does a bunch of stuff in the Smash community. It was really cool. And I know him personally.
American League of Legends.
Here in New York City. Went out clubbing with him a few times. So I will admit from the jump, I love Walt. I enjoy these videos despite the drama.
Tournament of 2026 took place in May. Didn't feature the world's best players playing for an LCS championship. It didn't even feature the region's best players. Nope. It featured a bunch of former pros trying their hardest to coach teammates who had to look down at their keyboards to press R for their ultimates. Welcome to East.
Oh, this is going to be a video about the Jinxie tournament. Okay. Interesting. Rick Fox, the Los Ratones video.
Sports Patch Notes, a show where we here at FlyQuest dive into the biggest issues in esports. Today, we're going to talk about how a mostly for fun tournament featuring a bunch of streamers who barely even play League of Legends turned into the game's most watched event of the year so far in North America, what that means.
That event has since been passed by MSI, technically by MSI, but oh. What's the LCS? I love this channel. Great Super Smash Lite. Nice.
Means for the NA League of Legends scene, and what we could all stand to learn from this event's success, even in a so-called dead region for League.
All right, one thing you guys will notice about these reaction videos, I pause a lot. Just letting you know, I pause a lot because we're going to talk about it throughout. The takeaway I personally had from the Jinxie tournament is that this is not replicable. Like, you want to keep Jinxie involved with North American League of Legends, but like, what made this tournament so fun is not going to be something that happens consistently, and I don't know if there's anything you can really take away from it, because like one of the main reasons people wanted to watch the tournament was like Mr. Beast and who else? Mr. Beast, Moist Critical, Ludwig, Tyler. Like there were so many like big personalities in it that it wasn't even about like North American League. It was about the creators. And you can't replicate that with players who are just not like individually popular on a creator level. Like nobody's pulling. Like I was looking at this the other day when Scump did his reaction, or when Scump did his like 140 kill game on Black Ops 2. This video, like he's playing professionally when he put this out. 2.8 million views of him getting 100. How many kills was it? 143 kills in a pub game. That was just phenomenal content. Like just a stream clip of that happening. Like crazy. Absolutely crazy. But you don't have pro players putting out this type of content in League of Legends right now. So that's my take. We'll see if
Jinxie's streamer tournament had a pretty simple concept. Get a bunch of streamers who are excited to play League of Legends, regardless of their skill level, throw them together, and have some fun. The tournament featured 40 players across 8 teams, each with one challenger level player to lead them. The rest of the players range from people who had just started playing the game, to people who had been playing casual for years, to some who had been genuine competitive grinders in a past life. Now, obviously, a part of the success of Jinxie's tournament was that it included
genuine competitive grinders. As like, I love Courage, to be very clear. Call of Duty OG, Call of Duty Vet, but like competitive grinder, that I appreciate. I like the inside kind of like banter with that. What team are we supporting since Optic is in the league? Team Liquid, my friend. We are Team Liquid all day.
competitive grinders in a past life. Now, obviously, a part of the success of Jinxie's tournament was that it included a bunch of big names. Ludwig, Tyler1, OniPixel, Emaru, Moist Critical, and XQC, just to name a few.
Yeah.
It also doesn't hurt that Jinxie himself is one of the biggest streamers in the space, the 8th most subscribed Twitch streamer of all time as of January 2026, and the winner of Best Streamer from the Stream Awards in 2 different genres, FPS in 2024 and strategy games in 2025. But just a quick look at the numbers shows that this was way more than just Jinxie's stream monster showing up to support.
What the? I need to know how they calculated media value of 3.5 million. How the fuck do you put a media value on this? What? Was that Faker on the thumbnail with? Yep, that was Faker. What am I trying to say? That Team Liquid put out a video about T1. Don't worry, we'll get to it.
Their favorite streamer. According to Twitch Tracker, Jinxie streamed every day for the 2 weeks preceding the tournament and never crossed 100,000 maximum viewers or 50,000 average viewers. Obviously, those are still insane numbers for any individual streamer, but then on May 11th, Jinxie streamed the tournament for nearly 9 hours, reaching about 244,000 average viewers and a maximum of 417,711. Viewers watched for over 1.6 million hours, and Jinxie added nearly 250,000 new followers to his channel. It was a huge stream, even by Jinxie's standards, as he hit a new viewership record by nearly 200,000 viewers and crossed the 10 million follower mark all in the same stream. Some credit, of course, goes to Riot Games as well for their support. In an unprecedented move, drops were activated for League players who tuned into Jinxie's stream, earning them an emote for half an hour of watch time and a free champion and skin for players who watch for 2 hours, roughly $15 in value.
That, dude, the drops are so big. And you can't do them all the time because it devalues them whenever you use them. But watch whoever the hell this guy is. Hey, we love Jinxie here. Personally, I love Jinxie. But yeah, the drops, I forgot to even mention that part at the beginning, but crazy value when you're giving out a free skin.
This was even more value than Riot has ever given to viewers of LCS events, where you can get shards and emotes, but never such a high-quality skin. The skin was for Master Yi, by the way, Jinxie's favored champ, who was a decidedly not esports champion.
And I have used that skin. I've played more Master Yi in the last 3 months because I got that skin and used it nonstop.
In all of 5 LCS matches ever, and that's out of about 4,000 chances to be picked. But while the drops and big names certainly had an impact, this tournament wouldn't have gone anywhere near as mega viral.
Look at that graph.
Drops and big names certainly had an...
Again, a reminder that you had to hit 2 hours for the drop. So, like, you have people starting here. This is assumedly, like, 1800, so, like, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock to, like, the first, like, 3 to 4 hours is everybody tuning in to get the drop. And the second they get the drop, slowly leaving as the night goes on. Now, granted, also, I think Jinxie's team got, like, eliminated here as well, so his stream's naturally going to drop. Like, there's other factors here, but a lot of this is, like, the second people got their drop or their skin and Jinxie's team was out and he was just commentating, they just started going.
Impact, this tournament wouldn't have gone anywhere near as mega viral if it weren't for the vibes, which were quite simply immaculate. The whole reason
They're
why
fantastic.
Jinxie decided to organize this tournament was because he had just picked up League of Legends for the first time and was having a blast learning the game. The clip of him getting his first ever kill went viral because of his infectious joy. The way Jinxie got so excited over such a simple play reminded a ton of people of their experience learning League of Legends for the first time, whether it had happened just last year or
okay, if you don't know who this is, he's one of my favorite reactors. He's a DJ and composer. I'm forgetting his name. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't. No. KDA the. What is it? KDA the baddest reaction. Joey Nato, I think it. Yeah, Joey Nato. He will sit down.
It's hard to tell. Tell if those harmonies in the background on the gonna break the rule. It's hard to tell if that harmony that's going on in the background, because there's higher notes being sang there. It's hard to tell if that's a synthesizer. They may have put a morphoder, I believe it's called.
But he does a bunch of music production or music breakdowns of songs, and I've watched every single one that he's ever done for League of Legends. Fucking love Joey Nato.
Of their experience learning League of Legends for the first time, whether it had happened just last year or 17 years ago, back when League was still in beta, or anywhere in between. Those kinds of moments were all over the place throughout Jinxie's tournament. Low-level League of Legends is just an objectively hilarious game, but it also provides some amazing moments where you see players learn and start to put things together.
Yup.
League of Legends has a reputation as one of the most mechanically difficult games out there, especially when accounting for the size of its player base. Now, whether or not that's actually true is up for debate. The game has champions and roles that are designed to have the potential for success in the hands of beginners, and there are ways to outplay a more technically skilled opponent if you have superior game sense. But when it comes to difficulty, perception can matter more than reality for new players, and the fact that the League of Legends tutorial has only received a major update once in the game's nearly 2-decade-long history hasn't really helped matters. The point is, what was on screen during Jinxie's event was far more relatable for new League players than what was on screen during the typical LCS or LEC or LCK broadcasts. But it would probably be a mistake to attribute the success of Jinxie's tournament to just new players, or just people who were brought in from the stream audiences of the creators in the event and those who don't even play League.
No, there were definitely a lot of people slumming it. Without a question, there were a lot of people slumming it. You gonna do a stream for COD Champs? I don't have co-streaming rights for COD Champs, so I mean I will be watching it by all means, but no, won't be streaming specifically during Champs.
For many, it was a reminder of why they fell in love with League in the first place.
We were slumming it.
One of the
most
most common sentiments surrounding the tournament was that it reminded people of what League used to be like in the good old days. And not just because the gameplay reminded people of what it was like when you were learning League of Legends from scratch.
Hello,
the
I am
emotion.
Apollo Price, and I am the assistant coach at Flyquest.
How long have you been playing
Really gonna age me from the spot. I've been playing League from ever since I played the beta when I was playing Dota before that, but I played the beta whenever that came out. But I started playing I guess seriously in 2012.
Hello everyone, my name is Hai. I used to play
14 years
on a few different teams. Cloud9, Flyquest, and Golden Guardians back in the day, between 2013 and 2018 or so. Currently now, I work at Riot as a contractor.
Apollo and Hai have been around since the days of pre-esports League of Legends, and we talked to them to get their perspective on the vibes of those early days and why something like the Jinxie tournament may have connected more with modern League fans.
So a lot of the tournaments that were held were mostly online. Like TSM were holding their own tournaments. Curse might have been holding tournaments as well.
They were.
And so a lot of it was just online play. 2013 it was when OGN came, LCS started, and so that's when you started to watch real professional teams. But I think way back when it was TSM, the Odd One, Chaos, that kind of crew, and CLG as well, I should mention them. Go for lols. I mean, I think the OG people would know about them, but yeah, a lot of just there was just a lot of these online tournaments, get your 5 people together and try to beat, whoever.
Hai was
Didn't really answer the question. Just kind of was hey, these were the fun tournaments back then. It's not really like, and to be clear, I'm not expecting either of these two to have a good answer to what makes like this tournament like so popular and like what made things great. Sifting through what he's saying here and trying to like figure out from an entertainment value, like these tournaments were great because it was an early day in esports, or like an early time in esports, where competition wasn't the norm. Like nowadays, whenever somebody releases a game, there's an expectation that the esport will be coming out. Like you drop the game, hey, when's the esport start? When do the people that like get to grind the game like really get to show off? And Call of Duty kind of sets that standard because COD releases a new game and immediately has tournaments. Now, granted, it's more ingrained in the ecosystem and has been for a long time, but like it continues that cycle even from a casual basis where like we get used to it, and you get reintroduced to like new game tournaments right away, like immediately, and it just reinforces it passively in your mind. Comp was the norm, just not like it. Comp maybe in League of Legends, but I'm telling you, within like the general gaming population, it was not normal to have comp. Like the majority, and you're still to this day, the majority of your player base is casual. But back then, there was a lot of novelty, and just like you were playing the game and you wanted to see, like, especially with League, is one of, to reiterate what he's saying. Not like it is now. Spirit of the moment is on the rise. I mean, I think my interpretation of what he's saying is basically like, back then, you tuned into streams to learn more about the game. And your tournaments were your source of like high elo gameplay that you couldn't really get elsewhere. Like all the people that were playing high elo, if you could get a chance to play for money or for a tournament or stuff or something like that, you were going to take it. Because content creation wasn't like this massive thing like it is now. It was starting to take off, but it was never this massive, massive thing. And I think that's like with the start of every game, especially like early on, people were just always looking for content. Didn't really stream these that much though. He's more about playing. From a culture point of view, sure, but like the question asked to him, which I know he didn't technically answer. The question asked to him is why does that connect with people now from an entertainment product point of view? And I'm trying to like dissect it from that lens. Like, how do you translate the answer to that? I mean, maybe I'm also just like, I should really just let it go. But I know it's about the transition over to what Hai's saying. So I get it. There were a lot of community tournaments back then. Not as many exist now. Or if they do, it's like rec leagues and that's about it. But also, what's up, LifeX?
Is one of those players trying to get together and beat whoever. After grinding his way up the ladder one winter break home from college, Hai reached the top 40 on the ladder, and before long, he found his way into the tournament scene.
So this is probably around like 2011 when I'm at that rating. This is like season 1 or preseason. Around the time of like before season 2 came out, I believe on the League of Legends client, there was like a big banner around their website that said something about like a $2 million tournament or something like that. And obviously I was really high rated at the game. So I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like, is this something that can actually make money? Because esports wasn't a thing in America at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think people played like Call of Duty tournaments and stuff like that, like ML.
Immediately cuts to Optic. Immediately cuts to the green wall. Which, okay.
Like in America at the time.
I thought I saw Merc in there.
Like, I think
Optic Gaming, SK Gaming. So this is Modern Warfare 3. This is 2009. No, 2011.
people play like Call of Duty tournaments
Who did Scump kill here? Who is that?
and stuff like that.
Okay. That's Big Timer. That's Big T, Merc, Scump, and I have no clue who the fuck is standing up. MW2? That's not MW2, bro. That's the... What? That is... What are you saying? That is Modern Warfare 3,
Sports
bro.
wasn't a thing in America at the time. Like, I think
I'll find this exact match. MW3. Bang, bitch. Modern Warfare 3. Don't test my Call of Duty knowledge.
Need to have it just to keep them in, but no, he has been taken down by Scumpy. So there we have it. Optic Gaming are once again champions of EGL, this time against SK Gaming. More of a fight put them up by the EU teams this
Focus, reduced flinch.
time. Of course, last time round Optic only dropped one map. This time we're victorious. Dropped a few maps this time, but still.
Who's on the
nothing
team? It's Big
of the
T,
ordinary for them.
it's
Scump going
Scump,
7-2
it's
in that
Merc,
final
and
game.
who?
Yeah, what a really quick grand final though there. And as Optic Gaming retain their title, take home the largest.
Is that JCap? Yo, you're fucking with me. That's JCap?
Cash prize.
Nobody else is that tall.
And a big round of applause was given by the audience. Great sportsmanship. Of course, both teams shaking hands. SK will be happy with their second place. That was what their actual seed was, I believe.
That is
And,
JCap.
So they matched their seed.
They've matched their seed despite
Brilliant.
being labelled as the choke team by Deserto. I'm here with you, Gooch. It's going to Scump, search and destroy.
Oh, no, it's Rambo Ray. Okay, so it's...
And Rambo Ray just pushing down this right-hand side.
Yeah,
I didn't
very
realize
first
Rambo
of all,
was that
Scumpy-
tall.
That is for Optic's favour.
Yeah, there it is. Look at Rambo. Bro, that's so 2009 coded. It's crazy. Or, well, 2011 at this point, but in general, late 2000s, early 2010s. That's crazy. Look at the Xbox Modern Warfare. Also, yeah, this is the Modern Warfare 3. Coco, relax. Yeah, that's MW3, bitch. Dude, look at these old school paintball jerseys too. Oh, dude, sick times. Sick times. Anyways, I got us off on a major tangent because I saw. Also, Josh. So SK was British. Like I think this was like Josh Bance. I don't remember who all was
People
playing
play
for
like
SK
Call
back
of Duty
then.
tournaments and stuff like that, like MLG, like at LANs and things like that. And when they announced the tournament, that's when I started to take it more seriously. I started looking for like better teammates, and I started practicing more because I mean, $2 million is like a life-changing amount of money for a lot of people, right?
Yep.
So I think the big
It's how
banner
Nadeshot quit his
talking
job
about
working at
$1 million
McDonald's.
$2 million prize pool is what got me.
Pretty soon, High was playing in the LCS for Cloud9, a team that went on to win the split in their rookie season, a feat that still hasn't been replicated by a non-founding team.
Bit of a jump.
In the early
in time,
days
but
of
sure.
being on a team in LCS, like when I first started, it was very
Yeah, I did.
unprofessional. It's not like we were corporations worth millions of dollars or hundreds of millions at the
We're bringing up FaZe. We've mentioned Optic. We've mentioned FaZe. Call of Duty sitting high on the content front, baby. Come on.
this point for a lot of them. We were just 5 people, not old enough to understand how business works, not old enough to have a lot of professional jobs. We didn't really have any other organizations to model, to learn from. We just had to build what we thought was good in terms of like an infrastructure and working dynamics and workflow. That's a lot of fancy words to say that there really wasn't much. You just play with your friends and hope you did well.
Top-level league teams were the most popular league streamers on Twitch and its predecessor Justin.tv. Teams like TSM became popular partly because it was rare to see such high-level gameplay anywhere, much less streamed on a regular basis. People were originally tuning in for the gameplay. League of Legends is such a deep and complicated game, and without a pro league or other kind of constant pipeline, these streams were often the only exposure people had to see what high-level gameplay even looked like. They opened people's eyes to what was possible and inspired the next generation of pros. But also, importantly, through consistent exposure to the players and their personalities, they organically turn viewers into fans. We asked High,
Which,
who now has
by
over
the way,
a decade of League of
crazy because like coming from the Call of Duty space, it was always the opposite. Like that's the thing that like when we have these conversations around league content, it's like, okay, for Call of Duty, it was like as long as you could find a way to like pub stomp just a little bit. Like, bro, have you ever gone back and looked at like Allier, who's not like Allier was never great at Call of Duty. He would do the most random shit.
favor. So let's get back
Oh my God, can we not?
2 really quick kills there
What
by
is
Optic, and that's
happening
going to work
right now?
in their favor greatly. The bomb hasn't going to be Optic. Scump picking up that bomb.
Jesus. Allier, COD. What's it? I mean, his most popular videos might be Minecraft at this point. Let's go oldest. Oh, this channel's like new. No, where's the main Allier channel? There it is. He does nothing but Fortnite now. But dude, his old, like, bro, it was not hard to get a nuke in Call of Duty. And these videos are popping for hundreds of thousands of views. Like, Call of Duty was the exact opposite of League of Legends because, like, everybody tuned in for competitive games and, like, to learn the game. COD, we just wanted to be entertained. Bro, the amount of, like, Drifter... What was his name? Yeah. The amount of Drifter videos I watched, he was not great at the game. He carried, like, a 1.2 KD at best. But, like... all he did was commentary videos. Like, he literally have a game on in the background and then just talk over it. And like, literally, he, like, his later videos as we got into, like, Ghosts were just him updating us on his life. He'd play Call of Duty and then just for 20 minutes tell you about what was happening in his day. And that was it. That was Call of Duty content. It was awesome. And you kept up with the personality. So, like, the pros... It's the exact opposite. Like, you didn't tune in to Call of Duty content because you wanted something competitive. There was so much content out there, you had to be entertaining at all times. And then what he started doing was he started breaking down, like, I forget what it was, like he did something involving statistics for his day job that he started breaking down, like, the stats of guns, the basic stats, and the series just took off. Shout out to his dog. Dude, look at how young. That's crazy. Anyways, yeah, the reason why I bring that up is just to say that, like, I come from a world where you have to be entertaining, in my opinion, for you to hold my interest. You just being good at a game does nothing for me. Because I know, especially in a modern, and that philosophy applies very well to today's standards, because there's a billion people out there that are good at the game. You got to be entertaining. If you're not Faker, if you're not, like, the top of the LCK, they can get away with just posting basic shit. Everybody else, you better be entertaining. Dude, did I watch T. Martin? Bro, I just recently watched fucking... Dude, him and his wife do... Luna! Relax. Luna! Jesus. Him and his wife do content, and it's fantastic. They, like, got engaged. He proposed to her in the Maldives. Like, it's unreal content. He takes her on, like, surprise vacations and shit. Oh, dude, it's so good. It's all so good. And he's sponsored with Royal Caribbean. So, like, all their newest ships and stuff, he gets to go on and vlog everything. Like, I still watch T. Martin to this day. I know the whole crypto scam shit was bad. I understand. But nobody, like, his vlog content's genuinely good. It's really fucking good.
League of Legends experience, how he feels about the way League of Legends has changed from those pre-esports days.
I think a lot of it is, like, for the better, obviously, but at the same time, it misses a lot of its intimacy that was involved in the early days of the league that doesn't exist anymore. Nowadays, there's a lot of corporate PR talk that you...
Is that use? No, not a... What people don't realize is that Team Art, like, that money that he made there, it was such a stupid decision because, like, he didn't need the money. He flipped houses. For people that don't know, like, he would, like, go in and renovate, like, buy a house down in Florida, renovate it, and then sell it. And that's in addition to, like, the money that he was making from content. He didn't have to do shit in CS and was stupid enough to do it anyways. Like, I'm glad he learned. He's talked about it in depth at this point. I'm glad he's, like, learned from it. But, like, dude, don't fucking scam people. You make good content outside of that. You don't got to be a fucking tool. How many years ago was that now? Jesus. Hold up. T Martin CS scam. How long ago was that now? Holy shit, 2016, that was 10 years ago now. Fuck. Oh my god. Jesus.
You have to do and understanding, and just be mindful of your brand and image as to not harm, you know, like your employer and stuff like that, which makes sense. But your employer back then wasn't really caring about that kind of stuff. They just cared if you won and were popular.
As League has gotten more and more competitive, it's become harder and harder for teams to justify keeping somebody on a roster because they're a fan favorite, somebody that fans have grown attached to through years of watching.
Really explain why Blabber's still on C9. Is that what I said?
Eventually, it's like these players that the community wanted to watch because they were like, they followed them for a really long time. Those players will start to drop off in performance and then they get replaced, which is how it really, like, that's kind of how it should be, right? Like, this is
a sport.
This is a competitive environment. But I think because there was so much more turnover towards the, I don't know, maybe the last like 5 or 6 years, it's hard for the community to get attached to these players. Because next thing you know, like after like a split or after 2 splits, they're gone. Like the Jinxie tournament, I mean, I do agree that people love watching League, but I think even more so, they love watching people that they have seen on Twitch and they watch regularly, and they get to like see the interactions between all those, you know, those group of people.
North American League.
No, but here's the bullshit behind this, okay? And here's why I don't subscribe to this like philosophy that I've seen like Travis Gafford and a bunch of others press over the years, which I agree, there needs to be a little bit more continuity between teams, slightly. But players could change teams back then and keep their relative popularity because they made content, because they did things outside the game that like you were following their journey. Nowadays, the only way you keep up with a player's journey is through org content. They don't have individual brands like players used to, where if they went to a new team, like you were fine with following them. Popular players didn't really move much. Back then, the popular players were also like the really good ones, for being honest, which goes into the whole point of like people watched you because you were really good, so they wouldn't have to move as much. But like nowadays, you don't have to be like extremely good to be popular. If Scump ever swapped from Optic, would have followed? He did leave Optic. Don't forget, there was a 2-week period where he left Optic for Envy and then came back. Luckily, I was following after that point. But yeah, I believe in Optic, the brand, well beyond Scump. I love Scump, and he like he'll never leave Optic. He's part of it for life. But no, Optic, the green wall is like the only thing that could pull it away is like if what happened back in 2020 happened again, where like Immortals buys the whole thing, but like Hex, Scump, and everybody else that like is like the chemistry of Optic, like the core, the foundation of it leaves. Yeah, I'd go elsewhere. I'd figure out what other brand. But no, I mean, that wouldn't happen. It's just not realistic.
League of Legends hasn't had much to rally around of late, and that's not just because of the lackluster performance of LCS teams on the world stage.
Hey, you put some respect on the region that has the second highest win rate at MSI. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is FaZe still a team in COD? Yep. The FaZe Vegas. Lion does make content TL and Fly, really the only ones doing it. But Lion has been putting out a good bit of content as of late. It's just all their channels in Spanish, so it's not going to naturally pop up in your feed as much.
This is Worlds at home. Bro, the LCS needs this desperately. NA's been needing something like this.
NA needed this, as Charlie put it, for a few reasons. There is a large group of deeply dedicated League of Legends fans in North America, but they haven't had much to celebrate lately. What Jinxie's tournament proved is that they will show up if you give them something worth celebrating. For years, the conventional wisdom was that you can't have a League of Legends stream that attracts such high numbers of viewers while the game's biggest audiences in Europe and Asia are sleeping. It turns out they just needed to see people they wanted to watch. Unfortunately, Riot did not allow any current LCS players to participate in this tournament, which is consistent with their policies dating back years now. Bjergsen infamously wasn't allowed to participate in a Mr. Beast vs. Ninja show match back in 2022.
I blame this as to why we had such a shitty Worlds. That's going to be my cope until the end of time. This tournament, because this tournament happened in the summer of 2022. This was the reason we fucked up bad at Worlds. It was a bad omen. It just set such a terrible tone that I'm just like, I blame this. I blame Riot for North America faltering at Worlds that year. Definitely wasn't because Danny was no longer a part of EG. Cloud9 was crumbling under the weight of the pressure, and 100 Thieves, well, we don't talk about that. But
because LCS players weren't allowed to compete in events that weren't sanctioned by Riot Games. In Riot's defense, this was all put together on a very short timescale. Considering the support they gave through the drops, there's a world where Riot may have been willing to bend or change its rules with a little more notice, but it also may not have mattered. There aren't really any LCS players who have the kind of reach that would have justified their selection for an event like this, which is a problem Riot may have to solve if they want the LCS to ever be
how's Riot going to solve that? That's on the players. What are we talking about?
Able to pull in numbers like Jinxie did this May. By no means is this a call to replace the talented players on LCS rosters with worse players just because they might have more name recognition. Not at all. As Apollo said, LCS is a highly competitive environment, and skill and merit should be the deciding factors when it comes to deciding who gets to play in the league.
Yes and no. Yes, I'm assuming he'll mention the caveat here. If you're choosing between two players that are equally skilled and one has a bigger brand, you take the one with the bigger brand, assuming everything else is equal. Without question. Have I kept up with Ripbound? No. I'm not a card game guy.
It's a reminder that the success of League of Legends in North America cannot depend entirely on the top-level competition of the LCS. There is a massive League of Legends culture in North America that's just waiting for something exciting to latch onto. And while it would be awesome if that was a World Championship team coming out of the LCS, let's be real for a second, that's not going to happen overnight. So what we should probably...
And for context, to give you all... I went to a birthday party this past weekend. 3 people I knew, 12 people that I didn't know. Adding the people from that party to the list that I'm about to say, I probably have at least 50 to 60 people who do not watch LCS, that play League of Legends, and live in New York that are all willing to pay up to like $1,000 for Worlds tickets. Possibly $1,500. Like, that is, there's such a big league community in North America that is just not tapped into by the LCS because they don't find it entertaining at its face value. And I say this because I have conversations with them all the time. Every time we go out, pre-gaming for a party or whatever, it's going to be League of Legends always comes up naturally because I'm kind of the league guy, and that just gets assumed that like I know what's going on. So I'm playing a lot of like catch up and fill in to people and like letting them know what's going on and giving them updates. And it's like, yeah, you know, I would watch LCS, but like I'm just busy. It's not a priority in my life. It's like, I get it. I do. But that's where it's like League is way more popular in North America than anybody in the world gives it credit for. The esport at the LCS level is just not culturally relevant. I have more conversations about the LCK than I do the LCS.
Be asking is, what else can we do to make sure there is something there to appeal to all of these League fans who showed up for Jinxie's event? Even for people who didn't watch this specific event, there's something important to the idea that League's appeal goes beyond the top level of competition.
I would say people enjoy League a lot for the social aspect of it. I think when you ignore solo queue, which is a large player base, but look at things like ARAM and things like that, a lot of people like playing League because of nostalgia and the fact that it's a social game. I think it's like a good way to make friends.
It's also just genuine. It's a good game at a base level. We don't give League enough credit for how good of a game it is at a base level. Period.
way to bond online. And now that we're usually more connected on the internet, it's like something to do while you hang out with people. So I think
Everything that he's saying right now is applicable to every other game that exists. Like, there's not a single thing that he just said that's not also applicable to 2K, to Call of Duty, and beyond. Like, the amount of 2K tournaments that I hosted in college as an RA is fucking crazy. And none of those guys played League. But that, like, culture building, community, like, all of that's general jargon and speech. The reality is League is just genuinely a base level, very entertaining game for anybody that has a PC and an IQ over 20.
I think one, the game is fun. You can constantly see yourself improve, and there's so many different characters and stuff that you can learn and things that you get better at every day. But I would say the main part is probably the social dynamics of it. You get to play with 4 of your friends.
Events like this used to be part of the LCS broadcast
I get to play with 5 of my friends in Call of Duty on a team of 6.
plan. There used to be popular show matches held at major events featuring big streamers and other figureheads where they would do stuff like throw Tyler 1 and Freak onto the same team in front of thousands of
no
fans.
manner.
This kind of thing has worked in the past, and Jinxie proves there is still some magic left there.
I do think it's mostly just like you have a lot of these big name streamers that come from, you know, different generations of League or different generations of like Twitch, like streaming, and people just like want to see the interactions. And like also it's not like a competitive, I mean it is competitive, but it's not so competitive that it takes away from the like the fun of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like people don't want to see like this complete stomp of a game and just getting absolutely destroyed. Like they want to see like the back and forth, or like a streamer that doesn't actually play that much League and then they come in and they beat someone who has played like a bunch, you know what I mean? Like they would rather see that than like this very like competitive 5v5 environment.
Yeah.
As someone who likes the competitive, it's like I get it, but I also like wish people would watch the really competitive side of it. But I get it, like it's
Because the competitive side relies on different factors. It just does.
more kind of exhausting to like keep up with like a very competitive side of things as opposed to like just tuning into something very like relaxed and like for fun and yeah.
Which is why, hate to be the guy that harps on this again, but like that's why you tie things into geolocation. That's why like it's good to have like a New York City team, because if my team's consistently losing, you know what we can do? We can go grab a beer and just drink and talk about it. Like we could just go out to a sports bar and like bullshit about it, and like that part of our sport does not exist yet. And then a world where everybody's just talking about shit online and like dealing with the online medium, the only thing we have to talk about is the content they put out and the results. And when there's no content put out, you hyper focus on results, because we don't have that ability to just go to a bar and just like shoot the shit. So hard to explain. Exactly. But like imagine a world where you don't need to explain games to your girl because you went out with the boys to the bar to talk about it and you got your fix of conversation in, that you could just then tune in later in the week. Makes it easier, right? Takes the pressure off our wives and significant others too, because like we have somebody that we can talk about in person, not just on Discord. Because the reason why we talk about it with our wives and partners is because we like having an in-person, like face-to-face conversation about this stuff. It is human nature to want that, at least to a certain extent, to want that. And the fact that the majority of our conversations that we have are online, on Discord, on chat messages and beyond, like you're taking away a part of what makes sports such a community and social phenomenon. Like I'll tell you right now, Paul and I, we've met in person only like 3 or 4 times in total, but we've been good friends online, dude. Every time that we talk in person, I can sit here and tell you exactly what we said during those 4 times. Him and I have talked for I don't know how, like you can't put into hours how often like good friends talk online and through messages. But I remember every word of the conversations that we've had in person, all of them. So it's like you can't replace the in-person element. It's just that's what keeps you there. And we need that so much more in League of Legends.
ideal world, these two kinds of events can feed into each other, with the casual events reaching new fans and leading those who want to go even deeper into the more competitive world of professional level League. The game simply benefits from both types of events going hand in hand. Even going back to the early days of League, it wasn't just the greatest players who were invaluable in popularizing the game. Some of the biggest streamers were people who had a talent for drawing people into their streams and showcasing the game to huge audiences. Think about your early League streamers like Tyler1, Guardsman Bob, and Trick2G. These were all very solid players. Tyler1 had a pretty nasty Draven, but even back then, they wouldn't have been the kinds of players filling out pro rosters. But they were instrumental in driving the popularity of League back in those days because they were also able to present the game in a relatable way. Sometimes that's showing excitement and emotion over the ups and downs of the game, other times it's showing the journey of growth, getting to see somebody you've been following for weeks, months, or even years achieving something they've been grinding for. Maybe you just like Trick2G split pushing, I don't know. Despite being nearly 20 years old, League of Legends is one of the biggest video games in the world because, simply put, people love it. But it's not enough to just trot out talented players and assume the resulting product will be enough to satisfy fans. There is so much more to League than just high-level gameplay, and Jinxie showed that people will absolutely show up for League at any level as long as it's attached to players and personalities that those people care about. A lot of the people who watch the Jinxie tournament may have been exposed to League before, but it's likely they had never experienced it in such a relatable way. Those people almost certainly needed something like this tournament to help demystify League of Legends. Watching people they know and are familiar with pick up the game and either visibly improve or even just having fun while bumbling through the growing pains of learning might just be exactly the thing they needed to stoke an interest into looking into the game.
I'm sorry, we gotta go back and rewatch that. We gotta see that again. It's gotta be my favorite clip from this year.
Game and either visibly improve or even just having fun while bumbling through.
Press Alt, Marlon. Press Alt. Press R.
Growing pains of learning might just be exactly the thing they needed to stoke an interest into looking into the game for themselves. For some people, that will be as far as they go, but others will get hooked the same way fans of those streamers in the early days did, and that could seed a new generation of League players and professionals. It does seem like Riot understands this. The move to provide drops for Jinxie's tournaments was no small gesture, and not just because Riot hasn't done anything like it for any other event of its kind. Riot's also the only company to materially support one of Jinxie's tournaments like this at all, which suggests that they see the value in what he's trying to do and the spotlight he's putting on the game. This responsibility isn't just Riot's. Engaging fans who have interest in League beyond just the sweatiest and most competitive is a shared responsibility between companies like Riot and esports organizations. We have the talent on hand.
Here we go. Yes, I was waiting for this. I was waiting for it. It's like, how are we gonna tie this in the Flyquest? You gotta find a way to do this at the end because they've done this with every video. And for those that like, I understand with the co-streaming video because of what was said earlier, people were a little bit more pissed with it than they normally would be, but you have to tie this in the Flyquest at the end. This is your video. You cannot just make this about Jinxie and the popularity of League and not like talk about your responsibility in how you get, what is your plan? How are you going to make this work? Come on, hit me with the Flyquest ad time. Let's go.
Responsibility between companies like Riot and esports organizations. We have the talent on hand after all. That was the idea behind having our LCS team stream their 5-hour road trip to Arizona's spring finals last month. There's more to League than just the high-level games, so we gave our fans a chance to get to interact with them and see what's going on beyond Summoner's Rift. There's a whole community that has built up around League, and it lifts everybody up when we're able to showcase those more human elements alongside the insane plays.
Now this is a well done Flyquest segment here, because I know the biggest gripe that a lot of people have with the co-streaming video was that like, okay, what is this co-streamer doing different than everybody else has done? This was I've never seen somebody in LoL esports do this in my time watching, where they literally like live streamed their entire trip to finals. Dude, they went go-karting, they camped out, and they streamed all of it. It was so much fun to watch.
So perhaps Jinxie's tournament is just the beginning of a revival of sorts.
But in the AI sounding video, dude, that's just how it turned out for Walt Talks. It is not AI, he's just got that cadence.
For North American League of Legends. Not because it's dying or anything like that, just the opposite, in fact. There's a massive fan base ready to just eat up League of Legends. Hopefully, the LCS sees what's happening here and can take advantage, because NA has shown if you build them something fun, they'll show up for it.
All right, this one a little bit
Before we
more
wrap this one up-
open-ended. I would say they didn't have like as their solution was a little bit more a little simple, little like, hey, we did the trip, we did the go-karting thing, but
This episode is brought to you by Tradeify, and honestly, they're one of the more fitting sponsors we could have for a video like this, because one of the harsh truths
how? Tell me how.
of esports is the average pro career is only 3 to 5 years, maybe less. And most players age out of competition before they've really had any time to think about what comes next, whether it's financially or otherwise. Tradeify is a prop trading platform.
So we're gonna get him into prop trading. That's what career we're gonna give him after. Nah, come on. Oh man.
Built around that exact gap. You don't even need your own capital to get started. All you have to do is prove you can trade, manage risk.
We just said what happens when they're at the end of their career. They've been playing League of Legends since they're 13. Okay? They've been playing League since they're 13. They know jack shit about anything in life. All you need to do is what?
You don't even need your own capital to get started.
They got the capital. Capital's the one thing they don't lack. They got money from playing.
All you have to do is prove you can trade,
They can trade roster moves. I don't think they know how to trade stock, but what do I know?
manage risk, execute under
Manage risk, execute under pressure.
think long-term investments, and they fund you with real money to do it. Which, if you've been paying attention to these videos, sound kind of like a lot of the financial literacy that pro players are almost never taught to develop.
That's a fair point. But the service you're provide that fair point.
Flyquest think a lot about the ways to make esports better for the people actually playing in it. Financial agency and building income outside of a contract is just one part. So thanks to Tradeify, and check out the link below if you're interested.
Sure. Don't know if I agree with that one. I think a credit card spot, like, here's my thing. I know we wouldn't get them. I'm not trying to say, like, by all means, hang on. Let me just make sure I like this and be very clear. Flyquest, great video. I did enjoy this. This was entertaining. They have Tradeify and they got a betting sponsor. Yep, you're saying that's... What's my opinion on gambling sponsors? If a team wants to take a gambling sponsor, I ain't gonna be pissed about it. I don't care about the gambling. I'm an adult. If you want to pitch gambling, fine. It's like MGM bets and stuff being all around. Like the interesting one to me is how we haven't had credit cards. Like a Visa, I know they're big name. Like, even if it's not Visa or MasterCard, but like, what about like a starting credit card? That's such a really good, like, if I'm picking like a good partner for my channel personally, I think Visa would genuinely be like or Capital One. Like, I love my Capital One Venture card. Double points on every purchase, and I can teach people, like, I can show you like the risk and responsibilities that come with credit cards. But credit cards are the single most important thing that if you know how to manage, they will help you in life a lot. A lot. You could pay for entire vacations just by the amount of points that you're properly spending or properly like putting money on credit card. Pay off the credit card. Don't put anything on a credit card that you can't afford and can't reasonably pay off with your own money. Like, you can teach financial responsibility, and it's something that an everyday person would use. I wish I could be sponsored by Capital One or fucking Visa or any of them. Oh, it'd be so nice. VCT teams are on credit cards? What? Hold up. What? Are you serious? Hold up. Let's see. Team Liquid Valorant. You're right. You're right. Visa's there. That, dude, that's a great sponsor. Visa is a crazy good sponsor. Which we got performance health spot. Yeah, we had some of those back when, but it was not many. Bro, Visa is so clutch. That's I love that. By the way, Ben Frankson, thank you for the sub. I go to streaming. Let's go. Hey. Yeah, Visa's great. Oh, 100%. Because everybody needs a credit card. Single most important thing that you can manage starting when you're young. Already tapped in? Yeah, but the League of Legends program's not. The problem is, like, awesome, they're sponsored by that. The League pillar, I guess it is in general. Huh. I guess I just didn't think about it because, like, the team name is Team Liquid Alienware. So you don't... It doesn't click. The only thing you think about is Alienware because they have the naming rights. We also have SAP, bro. Bro, all I'm saying, TL, come on. I can teach people how to use SAP. Okay? Let me do a full video. This would be the funniest shit in the world. Let me do a full video on the channel talking with Steve about the financials of Team Liquid League of Legends, okay? And I'll go into SAP, we'll pull the ledger, I'll run a P&L for you. We'll show people how to use SAP at a basic level because SAP is a great skill for people to learn on their resume. But also, we'll talk about the financials of the company, which I know won't happen. But I'm just saying. Or like the Double Lift tournament. We break down the cost of everything with the Double Lift tournament. Show how they uploaded an invoice into SAP. Dude, I'm nerding out in finance right now. Damn it. I'm sorry. There's so many possibilities when it comes to SAP and Visa and financial, like business content in esports. Oh, so like if this FlyQuest video was sponsored by SAP, bro, that would make so much sense. Oh, it makes so much sense. Dear God. Anyways, I'm really getting sidetracked. It took me an hour to get through an 18-minute video. Oh God, I'm Hassan. I am the League of Legends Hassan. Oh no. It took me an hour to get through this. Are you kidding me? Oh, man. You guys need to tell me to shut up. Well, if there's one thing we can at least appreciate here, it is that I can make sure that I can say I added value somewhere to this video and didn't just rip it off. I didn't just put it on and react to it. What if a hedge fund sponsored? That'd be interesting. We don't just watch the video. I know, but dude, it took me an hour to get through this. Crazy. And we have another video to go. We have a 31-minute video. Now, this is entirely LoL esports history, so like not exactly like something that I'm going to be able to yap about as much because that was very like industry coded and right up my alley. This is going to be more interesting because I don't know where they're going with this. All I saw in the thumbnail, it's Faker 2015, Faker 2025, and the trophy there. Which, by the way, in case you didn't know, This will get you hyped for Worlds, by the way. I gotta dig a little deep here to get to it. But right before MSI, Riot weirdly... Well, actually, if I go to albums real quick, just making sure. Oh, perfect. It's there. Riot went through and just did like a full photo shoot with the Summoner's Cup and uploaded it like a month ago. And I swear to God, I just come and look at these every day. Like, this thing is just beautiful. It's like, oh, dude. Was that the... No, they took it from a different photo. But like, I'm not the biggest fan of the glare there like that. But dude, that, oh, like, the trophy's so beautiful. So I think this is the picture. This is they definitely like took that, like this is this right here, downloaded onto Photoshop. If you don't know what I mean, you just like take that, you open up Photoshop, and then this is the thumbnail I made for this video. But you literally just drag this here. And then you take this little tool right here and you just go along the outline of the trophy. And you just go all throughout. I mean, they could spend more time doing it than I would. I'm not gonna waste the entire time, but you kind of get the idea and the point of this. Like, we have the full trophy, etc. And I gotta do this for Worlds when the time comes. Oh shit, I did the wrong thing. Never mind. That's why it was taking so long. All right, there we go. Boom. Boom. Just highlight all those. Highlight all that. And you get the general idea. You can clean this up a little bit. And then you just hit the old control paste. Bang. And then you got the trophy there. You have to obviously clean it up. I just rushed it. Made it look like shit. But they definitely use this photo for that. But yeah, dude, that trophy's so sexy. That's oh dude, that's sexy. Oh man, you can really zoom in on this. Oh dude, look at how clear that is. Oh, she's so pretty. She's so pretty. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. All right, let's watch this T1 video.
Championships, 2 MSI titles, and more LCS any other team.
If Joe Marsh wants to talk, I'm down. If he's in New York at all, I'm down to have a chat and conversation with him.
No matter how you slice it, T1 is the greatest League of Legends organization of all time. But which T1 roster?
He said League of Legends, right?
T1 is the greatest League of Legends organization of all time. But which T1 roster is the best? Today, we'll be using data from SAP to tell the...
Bang! Bang! Did I not call it? Did I not call it 10 minutes prior? Holy shit. Did I not just say a video with SAP talking about analytics or something like this would go super hard? Did I not just call that shit 5 minutes ago? Oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm good. Let's go. SAP using AI, there's not a single financial like software out there that's not using AI. You can't get away from it. It is just everywhere. So don't condemn that. Like, it's literally impossible to not. So kind of just have to ignore it. But bang, I called this shit. Oh, I feel good. Oh, man.
The story of how T1 built a second dynasty and ranking their 6 rosters to see which one stands above the rest. T1 has a long and storied...
We're ranking all the winning rosters. I wasn't there for the early ones, to be very clear. So like I don't really have a good horse in this race, other than to say that probably I think 2017 would be last. 2016 I think was the God Squad, if I'm not mistaken. I think 2016 would probably be 1. 2023 would be 2. 2024 would be 3. So 2016, 2024. No, sorry, 2016, 2023, 2024. The first one that Faker was a part of. Then 20, I don't know. I feel like 2025 is unironically going to be like last or close to last. But of the newer generation, 2023 is like, dude, that squad is like up there. They're good. Zeus, Owner, Faker, Guma, Carrier. Yeah, dude, nah. 2023 is they were different.
History spanning over 2 decades and many different games, but in an attempt to narrow it down.
Coco, we're not doing that. Coco.
Something digestible, we're going to be focusing on only their League of Legends rosters since rebranding from SK Telecom to T1. So let's turn back the clock 6 years and get started. Because the T1 of 2020 and the
Luna,
T1...
Holy shit.
Can you chill, please? My DoorDash is here. Can you stop screaming?
Luna would not shut up. Did I hit my dog? No, I hit the table right here to like get them to shut up. They were over at the door.
Oh, trust me. He would never. Our dogs are our babies. Plus, I'd kill him.
I was gonna say, I think I would literally be buried 6 feet under his apartment.
No, he's smacking the table to tell them to stop.
Yep.
One of today couldn't be more...
Wait, did I just turn on the video by doing that? Hold up.
different.
Yo, hold up.
When they rebranded from SKT T1 to just T1,
Again, first off, he would never.
Hold up. I'm about to prove a point.
Okay, you don't have to keep smacking everything.
many fans were shocked to see the most popular
That's crazy. That's crazy that apparently smacking the corner of the table will turn on the video. What? But no, you smack the corner of the table that way, like there's a loud sound that like gets their attention and gets them to stop.
Oh, he would never. And again, if, he knows I'd kill him if he did, but he would never.
What do you order?
I ordered shop bread. I told, remember?
Oh,
The
yeah.
watermelons and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
You can't screaming like an idiot.
I blame the dogs.
No, I blame you.
No, I blame the dogs.
They're just.
Chat says so.
They're just protecting us.
Hold up.
They're just protecting us from the noises outside. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all.
She wants nothing to do with me. Come here. Hey. Oh, hi. How are you? What's
And here's the fat Lou.
Uh-oh.
The fat Lou.
She wants nothing to do with it. But, yeah.
The fat Lou.
What?
Where's your mouse?
But yeah, over there.
Looking at comments.
Relax. Luna.
Where's that?
Scrolling through.
Where's that comment?
What?
Hi, Emily. The one about the dog.
Right there.
Oh.
Don't worry. I know.
Oh, no,
I
don't
know.
like that.
I know. The second I saw you read that, I knew you were gonna start worrying. Don't worry.
Oh, who's this? Who's this person?
What?
Who's this person?
Oh. Davin? She's actually got a benign tumor in her brain that presses against the part of your brain that basically tells you when to stop eating, and also makes you very late. She has what's known as Cushing's disease, if you look it up within dogs. So she doesn't eat much more than her normal amount, but she's very lazy, just chills, but she will eat forever if you don't stop her.
No, but she's.
No, you're good. But like.
No, you're fine.
Trust me. We call her Fat Lou all the time. Trust me. Like, we make fun of her. Like,
I think he means about the hit. Did you hit your dog?
Oh no, it's fine. It's also
he would literally never again. I'd kill him if he did. But no,
it's also a thing on Twitch. To explain this to you quickly, there was a guy that people don't like on a political front who had a collar on his dog that people assume was a shock collar, and they thought they watched him shock his dog live on stream. So there's a lot of like criticism and like a lot of people worried about that. He didn't actually shock his dog.
Yeah, when they can't see you off camera and you're going like this, hitting again. Wait, no, hold on. You made that sound.
Well, you can start the video if you do that hard enough.
I know. Well, obviously, when you do that, people have no context. So yeah, they're gonna be worried. But no.
You did shock? Okay, then you shocked his dog.
Oh yeah, they're so abused. No, she's not actually like. I know she looks really fat.
Because she's
is. Not. She is, but she's not. She is, but she isn't. She has Cushing's disease. So as you can see, look at her big. See this big pot belly? This is her.
Here, put her on my lap.
Cushing's belly. Cushing's disease comes with a big pot belly, so she can't control it. So look at that. Move your hand. Look at that thing. Yeah. So Luna's on like 4 medications per day that cost us $1 million. So you're so abused.
What are you doing? Hi. But
I heard he shocked the dog too, actually.
Yeah.
I heard
I'm not trying to get into the debate on it. I'm just saying that's why when people see dogs on Twitch and they see anything that like even remotely resembles it, they get weary.
Yeah. No, fuck that guy. I heard he did too. I heard he did too. We don't do that. No, that's not good.
All right, I gotta get back to this video.
Yeah, I gotta put your freaking carpet in here. Jerks. Woof woof. What would he feed that dog? He eating good. Damn.
She does love carrots, by the way. Her snack is a very healthy snack. All right, Luda. Hold up. There we go. All right, you gonna watch this with us? All right, let's go. All right, Shot. Hey, have a good night, man. All right, you gonna watch this with us, Luna? Let's go. Let's get back to this. I can't stall anymore.
Organization in the world changed their name overnight, but the organization was on uncertain ground. They hadn't won Worlds since 2016, and they were still reeling from back-to-back international semis exits at the hands of G2 Esports. So while the rebrand was well executed, it was, like the rest of the team at this point, unproven. Now we know the roster you all want to talk about, and believe me, we want to talk about them too, but to understand ZOFGK, we first need to understand how this roster formed in the first place. The T1 of 2020 had one goal and one goal only: help Faker lift another Summoner's Cup.
And try and put the pieces in place to be able to do so. Yeah.
Despite the disappointing international results, they had a strong 2019, all things considered. So instead of blowing up the roster entirely, they decided to retool, promoting Kana from within and signing Cuz in free agency, with effort being elevated to full-time starter. They joined Faker and Teddy to form the very first T1 roster. And T1's first split, it would go pretty well.
Bullabear dies, and that is going to do it. T1 are your LCK Spring 2020 champions in another 3-0 victory in the world.
This team had an amazing first season where they...
Amazing 2020 season. Isn't Kana on KC? Yes, he is. That is the same Kana that is on K-Corp. And that's history for you.
Went 36-15 and dropped just one game in the playoffs, which is where they really turned it on. These are their stats in the regular season versus the playoffs, and you can see that they leveled up across the board. Their early game goal differences exploded, their percentage of the game with a major lead went up from 29% to 54%, and their first blood percentage went from 47.7% to 71.4%.
Thank you. All for the MSI that never was.
Individual player with the largest glow up here was Cuz, nearly tripling his KDA and doubling his kills and assists at 15 minutes, while his goal difference at 15 exploded from plus 49 to plus 424, more than a kill on average. In 2019,
This is such a nerdy video. Holy fuck, this is a nerdy video and I love it.
SKT had won both splits and made deep international runs at MSI and Worlds, and it
All right, give me 1 sec, guys. Give me 1 sec. All right. Or ends this on low stat on specific players overdoing it. Yeah, but it's a video sponsored by SAP. So I think it's in it. Also, like, if this was current, it'd be different. But because you are looking at historical precedent here, or not historical precedent, but like historical plays and seasons, I think the stats are actually more relevant because they help paint a picture. Like, we know the overall story, but it adds a lot of contrast and color.
looked like this T1 roster was going to pick up right where the 2019 squad left off. But little did they know, Spring Finals was this roster's peak.
MSI has been cancelled.
There will be no MSI.
There is no MSI.
MSI got canceled and the team would regress in summer, sliding down to 5th place before being swept out of the regional qualifier 3-0 by Gen G and missing Worlds altogether. Not a fantastic
percent improvements probably plays better. You're right. They could add the percent there and take it the extra step and like show the differential and the variance, which I think is a really like good way to show change. But yeah.
Start to the T1 era.
KA damage per minute. Yeah.
Stripping signing Carrier from DRX in free agency, swapping out their coaching staff, and creating position battles.
the casual mention of swapping out our coaching staff. That's kind of a, like, the second you choose to bench Faker, your days are probably limited. Fairness, whatever.
In each of the other 4 positions, sending the message that no one on this roster was safe. T1 started 10 different players in 2021 spring.
This is crazy. Kana, owner, Elim, closer, Teddy, Zeus, Cuz, Carrier, Faker, Gumi. And you can see hand-picked parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And outside of Carrier, the only player to start every game, these incredibly important position battles were fought between T1's established players and new blood from their academy team. Top lane duties would be split between Kana and a 17-year-old Zeus. Jungle would be a 3-way battle between Elim, Cuz, and a 19-year-old prospect named Owner. Mid lane would be split pretty much 50-50 between Faker and an 18-year-old closer. And Teddy would compete with another 19-year-old named Gumiyushi for the starting spot.
That's crazy. So 2021, their average age, like, of the squad, 17, 19, old man Faker, 25, 19, and then I don't know how old Carrie is, probably like 20, 21-ish.
And while this pitched battle between Unks and Zoomers may seem drastic and involved many trucks being sent to the T1 facility, the decision to let these young players show what they could do might be the most important decision that T1 has ever made.
Without
Starting in the top lane, Kana would play 25 games and Zeus 19. They'd win a roughly even share of their games and had pretty much identical stats. But it was pretty clear from the eye test that Zeus, while incredibly talented, was still a bit too raw of a prospect to make the jump to the LCK at 17, especially when factoring in Kana's much larger champion pool. He'd be shut down for the rest of the year after the spring regular season, so the victory here goes to Kana. Like Kana, Faker would also make quick work of his challenger, although challenger may be debatable because it turns out that Faker actually benched himself, saying that he needed some time to grind on his own and get back into form. And it seems like it worked, because while their individual footprints were still pretty close, this time Faker would outperform.
I wish David was at Moscow 5 and TSM. Yeah, it just wasn't.
Closer literally across the board, vastly improving his early game compared to 2020 summer. Faker also did all of this versus a much higher level of competition, while winning 4 of his 5 games against non-playoff opponents, meaning that this battle was actually much less close than it looks on paper, a clear victory for Faker. As the only position battle with 3 players involved, the jungle situation was a bit more messy. Elim saw by far the most action at 22 games, while Cuz got 13 and Owner got just 10. Owner's debut was the definition of up and down, or rather up and then down, going 4-0 in his first 4 games and then 1-5 in his next 6. He either stomped or got stomped with no in between, looking amazing in wins, averaging almost 4.5 kills and assists at 15 minutes, which is insane.
When did I get in the league? 2016 was the first time I watched Worlds. 2017 was the first time I watched the LCS passively, and then 2018 I hard committed. So like really casually 2016, passively 2017, and then formally 2018 would be the best way of describing the timeline.
For a jungler, but absolutely awful in losses, where he'd go down over 800 gold at 15 to the enemy jungler.
God damn.
Now, the jungle is a very important position. Anyone who has ever played solo queue knows that no role in the game gets judged more based on the game's outcome. And in that arena, this position battle had a very clear winner. Elim went 12-10, Owner went 5-5, but Cuz, despite getting just 13 starts, won 10 of them and would get the nod to be T1's sole starter in the spring playoffs.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which brings us to AD Carry. Teddy was a veteran and team fighting savant.
I remember this. Like, people were vicious about this battle,
but wasn't really regarded as an incredibly strong laner. However, removing fasting Senna games shows that he actually had an amazing laning split that spring, leading.
I love that we can statistically remove fasting Senna. Thank God.
All 80 carries in gold diff at 15, CS difference at 15, and
Okay, so
damage
I
per
have no
minute
problem.
difference. Or how much more damage per minute you did compared to the other person in your role. Gumayushi, on the other hand, was the opposite, explosive and volatile, something that he showed off in his very first game.
I ordered a very small little thing of cheese and crackers, like the Hormel, you know, little cheese and cracker plate thing. And she gave me this. Where's your camera? There. Look how massive this is. It's not even gonna fit in the fucking fridge. Although they gave me a refund for it, so because this isn't what I fucking ordered.
Shout out to your adult Lunchable.
Please. I don't even eat half the stuff in this though. I don't even eat.
Thanks to fasting Senna, I have the highest CS per minute as a support in the world in pro play. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Guma was incredibly skilled, but like Zeus, he was still a very raw prospect. Unlike Zeus, however, the head-to-head stats from this matchup wouldn't be very close. Gumayushi would actually lose more games than he won, and nothing about his other stats really stood out compared to Teddy. He also wasn't versatile. Despite playing 2 more games than Teddy, he still played fewer champions, and seemingly didn't play Senna at a time when the fasting build was still fairly strong. But the reason Gumayushi stuck around despite all of this is that you just couldn't ignore his upside.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at his stats in wins versus his stats in losses.
It is very important in sports in general to when you see potential to give it a fair shot. Not just, and I don't just mean like a fair shot in terms of like auditioning, in terms of like, you know, substituting in. When you see that somebody has like that it factor, whether it's consistent or not, you have to see it through. You have to try. And it speaks to your ability to read situations and read people to be able to unlock it. But once you see that, you don't let go of it.
That is a crazy difference and much more extreme than Owner. Sure, he's the definition of feast or famine, but when he was feasting, that man was a generational eater. If only you could get him to do that more often.
What? What did you just say?
When he was feasting, that man was a generational eater. If
Gumayushi, generational eater. Oh my god. Oh, I need a black and white photo of Gumayushi with the headline, quote, generational eater. I know Manny was chuckling so hard when he wrote that in the script. I know, Manny, if you for some reason are watching this, I know you were chuckling hard. Kudos. You know what? Round of applause. Good job.
If only you could get him to do that more often, and, well, you can see why T1 kept giving him
generational eater. If only we could get him to do it more often. Oh. Oh, it writes itself.
That fucking party tray was $20.
No shit.
more games. But he just wasn't disciplined enough for a playoff run just yet, so Teddy would get the nod for spring playoffs, along with Kana, Cuz, and Faker. But T1 would quickly fall 3-0 in the semifinals to Gen G, a sentence that will become a recurring theme throughout the rest of this video. So while they had their F and K locked into place, there was still more work to be done.
Generational Eater, F and K. Manny, you're baiting me too much, man. You're baiting me too much.
In the summer split, the focus would shift to jungle and AD carry. Ellen would be permanently benched after the spring split, and while Cuz had proven to be the best jungler of the lot in spring, T1 saw enough potential in Owner to give him another shot in the summer. And it's a good thing that they did. They were both used a fairly equal amount of time, but while Cuz played a lot of the meta champs at the time, like Rumble, Owner was kind of doing his own thing, taking over games on Lee Sin, and it won him a lot of games. T1 must have liked this because by the time playoffs rolled around, Owner would be their starter for the rest of the year. Another letter locked into place. Meanwhile at AD Carry, the games were also split pretty evenly, but while Gumayushi was definitely much improved, Teddy still had him beat out in the stats department.
Yeah.
That being said, Gumayushi did prove that he had a much deeper champion pool and could play unorthodox picks, flipping the script from the spring. But it wasn't enough to win the spot, as Guma would once again take a backseat come playoffs. Teddy would start every game of their first 2 series, but down 0-2 against Damwon in the finals, Gumayushi subbed in and got them their lone win of the series. He'd also get to play their regional qualifier series versus HLE, and that showing, combined with whatever was happening in scrims, was strong enough for T1 to name Gumayushi the starter for Worlds, giving us a finalized 2021 T1 roster of Kana, Owner, Faker, Gumayushi, and Keria. And it turned out that once T1 finally settled on a roster, they were actually really good, dropping just 1 game before meeting Damwon once again in the semifinals.
Looking for it, keep your eyes on Faker, that frozen tomb, the path into the backside, instantly the Rakan getting things kicked off, Khan, and everyone's now moving in, but that's Ghost down, Yasuo already getting things started, and here comes Faker on the backside, waiting for the perfect ultimate. In the meantime, Damwon Kia getting things kicked off, another knockup coming in from Khan to the Yasuo, 2 clutch, Barrel still coming out, Showmaker still alive, Khan still alive, Faker trying to finish the job, Showmaker running for his life, he's juking, he's diving, he's finding a way out, but Gumayushi comes in with the bullet to find the kill. T1 on the knife's edge, Khan still standing, so much lifesteal, but it will not be enough. T1 take the fight.
Owner and Faker standing strong. It's a bloodbath at the Dragon, and T1 coming out on top.
Single mistake will cost them the game, will cost them their shot at the World Final.
50-50.
TP now coming in. Everything being bet on this smite. Faker goes to sleep. Kana now stepping forward. 3K getting lower. Kana going all the way and trying to lock the thing, but who's going to get it? No! In the end, it is Canyon. When it matters most, he will find the smite, but Gumayushi standing strong on the backside. It does not matter. In the face of the Elder, Damwon Kia will wipe T1.
The crazy thing is, like, in a world where T1 wins this series, they then go on to play EDG. I mean, given T1's eventual track record against the LPL, high likelihood, high likelihood's kind of overselling it. T1 might have matched up better against EDG. Were they in the same group, if I'm not mistaken? Like, if we go a little bit further back, wasn't it like...
They were actually really good.
Yeah. They'd already beat EDG. I think T1 would have had EDG's number. And they go on to win Worlds. Which, arguably, it's better that they didn't. Like, it's the better story. But, like... it's just interesting to note.
Worlds at all, but T1 had found a core of extreme since despite
title in the finals and look to go back to back.
Despite all the chaos of 2021, T1 had fallen just short of their only world finals since 2017, but there was still plenty to celebrate. Not only was it a major step up from 2020, where they hadn't made Worlds at all, but T1 had found a core of extremely young, extremely talented players that could challenge for a Summoner's Cup. But it still seemed like they needed just a little extra, and that extra piece would fall into place in the spring of 2022 when the team would promote Zeus to the starting roster and take the LCK by storm.
And now we can see the real power of T1 as the engage from Keria up to a Lee Sin with the top 10. That's another charm. That's going to be the end of that. Here comes Corellias as the Rockets coming in, and there's the flash charm. Baker wants to end this game before the Baron.
18 series wins, 0 losses. the first LCK team to ever do that in a regular season. And in the playoffs, they dropped just 1 game, leading to an overall game record of 42-8. Overall, their major deficit percentage was a minuscule 2.7%, practically nothing. This probably had something to do with their insane early game. T1's average goal difference at 15 to split was plus 1,970, and the team in second place, Damwon Kia, theirs was only 710. They were just in a league of their own.
They were.
Speaking of which, originally I was going to show you each player's individual stats relative to their roles, but they led in pretty much every category and it just looked kind of boring. So instead what I'm going to do is show you the statistics these players led, not just within their own roles, but in the entire LCK across all positions. Zeus led the league in damage per minute difference, Owner was first in both kills and assists at 15, and XP diff at 15.
Yeah, dude.
Gumayushi led all players in kills, GD at 15, gold per minute, and CS per minute, and Keria pulled in the most assists along with the highest.
Yeah, this is the Team Liquid Esports Garage collab.
Forward percentage of any player in the entire league on his way to LCK MVP. The first and to this day only time the award has been given to a support. And as a whole, their 20-0 series record remains to this day the very best record in LCK history. And while they were breaking records left and right, they did tail off a bit over the rest of the year, although nowhere near as much as they had in 2020. They lost in the MSI Finals 3-2 to RNG, then lost the Summer Finals 3-1 to Genji, before of course losing that legendary World Finals series versus DRX 3.
And Joe Marsh said they got cocky. His words, he just said they were winning at such an insane scrim clip rate at this Worlds, and the fact that they lost it is just utterly insane.
2.
What did he say? Hold up. He mentioned it in the...
out there, but they were going to win by being jokers and like doing things differently. You can't play the... If you catch us on a bad day, after all, where like the Americans or the Europeans always
gotta get better. If we beat them, then
an MSI the past 2 years, or you could have it was just on stage. Like we were cooking off scrims, and we our scrims this year, like it was just different. Like we had a tough long year, and I think when we got to Worlds and we got going there, and we weren't like in the teams that are like, shout out to Hanma Life, Genji, like they were doing what they do. Genji early on, not so much later, like, but Hanwha was like a problem for us, and it just we didn't. They were on the other side of
he mentioned the scrim win rate at some point. Nobody's gonna remember that because
for us it's about winning Worlds. I mean, and we needed the same way that
I can't find it. Either
it's
way,
funny that
yeah, he mentioned that at Worlds 2022, dude, their scrim win rate was absurd, like absolutely crazy. So.
No matter how mighty this roster was, they just couldn't overcome the magic of the Last Dance. Still, in their very first years of 5-man unit,
when you're winning every single game, it's tough not to. Like in any sport, it's tough not to.
ZOFGK were just 2 games away from winning both MSI and Worlds with a record-setting spring split on top. That is a fantastic place to be moving forward. But here's the thing. Unbelievably, that 2022 Spring Championship would be the only LCK title that this team ever won.
Yep.
And their 2023 would be rocky. At first, they seemed to pick up right where they left off with an undefeated regular season in spring, but they once again found themselves run over by Genji in the finals. At MSI, they'd finished a relatively distant third behind Genji and BLG, but Summer Split was where the trouble truly began.
Genji and BLG, wasn't that 2020? Oh, yeah. Never mind.
After a 6-2 start to the split, Faker was sidelined indefinitely due to a wrist injury. While he recovered, T1 would be forced to start their challengers mid laner, Poby, and it was not pretty. With Faker, this team was one of the very best in the world, and without him, the team that had been setting records and the overwhelming favorites to win Worlds just a year ago were suddenly just awful. T1 would go on to lose 14 of their next 18 games, falling from a 6-2 series record to 9-9. But outside of their record, their major lead percentage dropped from 3rd to 8th. Their major deficit percentage rose from a league best 9.9% to 35.1%. Their first tower percentage dropped by over 40 points, and their goal difference at 15 went from over 1,000 to negative 628.
That's fucking crazy. Like, Faker doesn't change that much in the early game unless he's like shot calling everything for you.
They changed one guy, and their gold lead at 15 fell by an average of 1,700. Sure, Poby wasn't ready, but swapping out just one player shouldn't be nearly enough to cause this. Every single player on T1 looks significantly worse without Faker in the lineup. Zeus, 10 isolated deaths with Faker, 23 without. Owner, best kills and assists at 15 in the league with Faker, 7th best without. Gumayushi, plus 517 goal difference at 15 with Faker, minus 231 without. Keria, 2nd best kill participation in the league with Faker, 3rd worst without. Oftentimes, when we talk about GOAT level players in sports with long careers, fans often wonder how good they still are, especially with a stacked lineup built around them. How much does the old man really...
Audio mixing on this video, by the way, little off. Just a very small bit of the music's a little loud at points relative to the speaking in others.
Contribute? Is he getting carried by the young stars surrounding him? What would happen to the team if you just magically removed him from the lineup? Would they collapse, or would the prodigies just keep chugging along like nothing happened? So what can T1 do without Faker? The summer of 2023 gives us a rare and definitive answer. Nothing at all. And yet, despite winning just 22% of their games without their leader, they still had more than enough wins to make it into the playoffs as the number 5 seed, buying Faker just enough time to return to the lineup and remind everyone just what they'd been missing.
Yeah, Equalizer comes down just to try and guarantee this tower. There's the flash, 3-man Pop Blossom. Empress Divide comes in, but it does absolutely nothing. It's a double for Goomer as well. Faker looking for a Pop Blossom angle as there's the keeper's verdict. It does go wide. There's the 3-man though, and Faker takes matters into his own hand for hand. Immediately taken down. Zeus, he's a bit late for the fight because T1 have already won. The Blade Caller is decent, but it's not quite going to be enough as Cuz's life may be safe, and no, the barrel comes down.
It may not have been pretty, but with Faker back, T1 started winning again, surviving 2 5-game series against KT and bringing Gen G to 5 games in the winners finals. T1 played 22 games in the playoffs, 9 more than the next closest team, and double the amount that Gen G did. Sure, the grand finals were one-sided, but this was one hell of a comeback for a team that looked completely lost just a few weeks earlier. So after looking dead in the water for half a split, T1 suddenly found themselves as Korea's 2nd seed at the World Championship. And by the time the quarterfinals were over, they...
That's pretty nice. That's pretty... I like that. I don't like that score, but I like that name right there. North America in quarters, baby. The fated T1 versus JDG to shut down the Golden Road.
Be Korea's last hope as well. Damwon would fall in groups, Gen G would lose to BLG, and KT would lose to JDG. That left T1 up against 3 LPL teams, and the rest, as they say,
and the Golden Road
is history.
T1 finally hoisting it with the new name.
Just when we least expected it, Faker and T1 had reached the top of the mountain once again after 7 long years.
In Korea,
this team was absolutely horrible just a few months ago, so just how much did they lock in at Worlds? Well, here are their team stats from the summer split versus Worlds, and you can see a significant uptick in every statistical category. They went from a team...
My God. Dude, they were just crushing lanes.
That got the first major objectives, towers, barons, dragons, etc., roughly about half the time against the LCK to 3/4 of the time against the very best teams in the world. And hot take here, getting lots of objectives helps you win. So where to go from here? Well, unlike most teams to win Worlds, T1 actually kept the whole roster together for 2024. This is totally unprecedented in competitive League of Legends history. Worlds winning rosters typically experience at least some level of turnover year to year, but this is bigger than just Worlds. This T1 roster is the only team to ever stick together for more than 3 years. Not the only World Championship winning team, the only LCK team, or even the only Tier 1 team, the only team to ever do it, full stop. But heading into 2024,
Crazy.
the team couldn't make
I get it, Zeus, but it could have been more.
maintain their Worlds form, once again finishing second in the LCK playoffs and third in MSI. It seemed like this team just couldn't beat Gen G, so let's take a look at that matchup in particular. This is every series the two teams played from the start of the ZOFGK era in 2022 spring all the way through the end of 2024
look at
summer.
this streak.
Originally, things were very T1 favored, but everything would change in the summer of 2023. Gen G would 2-1 T1 in the first week of the season with Faker in the lineup and proceed to win 10 consecutive series against them. So while
My
the total
God.
matching game records are only slightly Gen G favored, in recent history, this matchup has been all Gen G all the time. And to make matters worse, just like the year before, this roster went on a slide in the summer split. Since Faker stayed on the team, it wasn't nearly as dramatic as the year before, but it wasn't looking good with the team finishing 4th in the regular season and 3rd in the playoffs. And due to HLE upsetting Gen G in the finals, it meant that unlike 2023, where they qualified for Worlds on points, this time they need to go through the regional qualifier. But things continued to unravel as T1 dropped their first series 3-2 to Damwon, setting up a winner-take-all best-of-5 against Deft and KT Rolster for the final spot.
He just in Joe Marsh's words, the most nervous he had ever been with a series. Ever. Was the case.
While T1 had finally qualified for Worlds, they just barely snuck in and
the most nervous, because what we didn't know behind the scenes was that the entire like music video for Heavy as the Crown is like centered around T1. Like so heavily centered around T1. And there's the whole thing with like Linkin Park, like it was this insane moment that very much relied on T1 making Worlds. And had they not made Worlds, it would have been it would have felt bad. It would have felt so bad. And luckily they did. We don't have to live in a world where Heavy as the Crown is played and T1's just not at Worlds, because that crown was a little too heavy, wasn't it? Like the song would have memed itself to death.
Nobody was really happy about it. As frustration began to build and rumors began to mount, it seemed almost guaranteed that Worlds 2024 would be this roster's last ride. Let's see just how much magic they had left in the tank.
History doesn't repeat itself, but it damn well rhymes. It's another Friday. It's another T1 win.
TES, Jackie Love fighting their way back in game 3, but Guma stands strong.
He knows he just has to move it away from these Nexus turrets. And he is able to stall it out. Another teleport. Faker does come back. And they'll now get their time. It is Guma that's able to melt these turrets.
Just like last year, T1 turned it on when they needed to the very most, and this time they even overcame their domestic demons Gen G to do it. Against Gen G in the LCK that year, T1 averaged a 12.4 major lead percentage, 28.8 major deficit percentage, and a negative 772 goal difference at 15 minutes. And this is what they did against them in their semifinal series. This T1 team is just a different animal at Worlds. But they still had one final hurdle. The LPL Spring and Summer champions who had eliminated T1 in 5 games at that year's MSI, BLG.
We'll see the way to put this one on. Yes, Charm flashes in, finds through. Equalizer on the back line as well. As Faker is knocked off this earth. Faker flashes in and down.
Just an all-time great series. An all-time, like, oh, dude, for every bit the 2023 finals was a dud, 2024 made up for it in spades, and then 2022's finals was just crazy. 2022 finals, in my opinion, goes down as like one of the greatest ever.
Axes and T1 at Worlds. T1 had won their 5th Summoners Cup, and this was their 2nd time winning back-to-back world titles. Despite the noise and the controversy, they've done it again, writing the final chapter of this roster in the only way they knew how, a storybook ending. Because of their last second Worlds win, there was a lot of hope that T1 could keep the band together for one more year, but a 4th year of ZOFGK just wasn't in the cards, with Zeus leaving the team to sign with HLE in the offseason. It was the end of an era, and as sad as that is,
that offseason is one that I will never forget. Like, this offseason had to have been the most dramatic offseason in LoL esports history. Like, I can't think of a time. Like, double lift to TSM was probably like crazy, I'd imagine. Like, everybody was like hyped and excited about it. But like, this was ugly. Like, this offseason just got so messy and so tit for tat on so many sides that it was just so yeah, there was the whole agent drama, like there was a whole bunch of shit. And I remember when this offseason ended and 2025 season began, the Guma Smash thing was mostly during the year. This offseason was more Guma, and like the offseason was just the Zeus Doran stuff. Was Loki much bigger? Yeah, it was more hype for sure, but like if we're talking drama and like, dude, Reddit was filled with this for 3 months. 3 months. Season started, people still wouldn't shut up about it. Like, I was praying for the day that games would begin, and even then, it felt like you still couldn't get away from it. Like, it took until at least mid-February for everything to die down. And even then, there were still headlines that popped up throughout the summer. It was like, oh, dude, I wanted... By the time a month and a half was in, I was still reporting on everything on TikTok. But, like, I just wanted it to be so far done. And just talk about anything else. Because the comments weren't constructive. The conversation wasn't fun. It wasn't enjoyable in any way. It was just like everybody shitting on everybody. And I don't miss that period at all.
we need to take a minute to appreciate just how special this roster really was. They won back-to-back World Championships and reached the World Finals in 3 consecutive years. The first team to do that since, well, SKT. They also had an MSI Finals appearance, and despite making 5 LCK Finals and 6 splits, they won just once, losing all 4 times to Gen G. This team was their kryptonite, at least domestically. So let's take a look at this roster's stats versus Gen G, and then their stats against everyone else in the LCK, excluding games with Poby, of course. It's interesting to think about just how dominant this T1 team would have been without Gen G in the mix. ZOFGK was together for 1,025 days, the longest standing roster in League of Legends history, bar none. There's a really strong chance that this roster goes down as the greatest of all time, but we still have one more roster to cover, because heading into 2025...
There's no question in my mind the ZOFGK roster of T1 is the greatest roster of all time. It is not a contestable point. And it's not like, it will, like, they are. Nobody's going to be able to do the things that they did for a long period of time. You would get, like, and think about the pressure that will be on the next, like, squad. Because, like, again, we talked about it earlier. The average age of this roster when they started was, like, 19.8 or 19.7, something like that. If we get another hyped roster that is also young in that age, now you have something that you're being compared against. T1 at the time, like, that roster is like, okay, their whole goal is just to win Worlds once. Now, if you have a hype squad that, like, comes in as, like, preseason favorites with a similar average age and people are hyped about it, the comparisons to T1 will start immediately. Immediately. You don't get grace. You don't have time to, sit here and figure it out anymore. Like, the comparisons will start right away. And that is pressure that, good luck. Good luck dealing with.
T1 brought in Doran to replace Zeus. Now, getting an upgrade over someone like Zeus looked like a pretty impossible task, but given the pool of top laners on the market at the time, Doran was about as close as you can get, at least on paper. He was a 4-time LCK champion across multiple teams, a regular All-Pro staple, albeit he'd never made the first team, and he'd made 5 international appearances, including a World semifinal. Overall, he'd been one of the better top laners in the LCK for the better part of a decade. But this move still left a lot of people scratching their heads, because not only was Zeus's exit controversial, but Doran was also kind of a living meme that sort of seemed like the anti-T1 player in a way. Always good domestically, but with a tendency to shut down in high-pressure moments. But the reason why I personally love Doran is because he's always an interesting watch. He just has this uncanny ability to get into extremely weird situations, resulting in the occasional hilarious gaffe. A skill he wasted no time putting on full display for the T1 faithful.
He died to Krugs because he felt like it.
I don't get it.
Oh, right. Well, he died. Well, Faker is
He
going.
died to Krug.
Let's see what Kuz.
But the thing about Doran is, for every Krug incident, he also does something absolutely unreal.
Oh my god.
T1 lost everything except Worlds. All those doesn't matter. Worlds is, if you win Worlds, everything else really doesn't matter. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's just like it overrides everything else. Like, do we remember that G2 won MSI and won 2 splits of LCK, or do we remember that they lost Worlds 2019? Personally, I remember that they lost Worlds 2019. The OG roster, do you think they had the best player in each role? When it mattered most, yes. In general, I think there's a lot of points where individually there were other players in the LCK that might have been stronger, but as a unit, they are just collectively all better than the sum of their parts, which were already pretty good. Keria, Faker, and Zeus are the best all time. But like at the time, no, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that anybody other than Keria and Zeus were like the clear best in their role. 2019 G2 is remembered fully. You're European, my friend. For Europe, yes, it's going to be remembered like that. For everybody else, I think like I'm not talking. Obviously, we remember all of it. I'm just saying the first thought that comes to your mind is the FPX G2 lost it to me. The first thing that comes to my mind is that they lost, and then I remember everything. And like you talk about everything else. That's not diminishing how great they were. I'm not saying that people don't remember it. I'm saying the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about 2019 G2, the first thing that comes to my mind is the loss in finals and the heartbreak that came with that. I remember heartbreak more than I remember elation, especially when it's that painful. Losses, remember? Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing. Again, I think the whole year was fantastic for G2, and you end up remembering all of it. But the first emotion that I feel when I think to that roster is the heartbreak from finals. The what could have been, so to speak. Hey, Manny, I'm glad you're in chat. Hey, are you, I'm just making sure you're on Twitch. You should be live, right? I got a question. I got a question for you specifically on this video, my friend. I just want to make sure we're attentive at the moment before I ask it. Loss always remember is hard. Yeah. For those of you that don't know in Twitch chat, M. Sanchez, aka Manny the Goat himself, is one half of Esports Garage with Pastry Time. Hey, Ben. What's up, Ben? Ben Zipper, TL. For those of you that don't know. I just need to confirm that Manny's here because I got a very specific question. Go ahead. Perfect. You want to explain to me what you're talking about here? Hold up. Where's it at?
Teddy wasn't enough to win the spot, as Guma would once again take a backseat come playoffs. Teddy would start every game of their first 2 series, but down 0-2 against Damwon in the finals, Gumayushi subbed in and got versus H to name Gumayushi the starter for Worlds. Gumayushi.
No, where's it at? Where was that?
That man
Anybody remember the timestamp?
Was a generation.
Oh,
sure,
there it is. Manny, you want to explain to me the script on this moment? You want to?
He's the definition of feast or famine. But when he was feasting, that man was a generational eater.
You want to explain? You want to explain how that one got in the script? You want to tell me? Huh? We're calling Gumayusi the generational eater now? That's where we're going? All right. Dude, I will clip, I promise you, I will have it on Twitter after this stream is done. My initial reaction to hearing that, I fucking lost it. I lost it so hard hearing that. It, like, fantastic script writing. Just perfect.
Only ever do it, full stop, end.
I need to get that.
All right. Well, he died. Well,
also just happened. Series P, also Dorn. That would be rolls.
all right, but
All right, there we go. Okay, we're back. Anyways, yeah, I just had to ask about the eater comment. That's all. Because that came up and I was like, what are we doing?
Now, the astute among you may have...
It is 11 o'clock. I got to get to bed in the next, 40 minutes. So we got to wrap this up. I cannot allow this to take much longer than it already has. Turn on to the little podcast scene going. League Lounge, just a heads up. Hey. Good luck, Promiscuous. Good luck. No idea what that could pot. Okay.
Notice that the Krug execute happened versus KT Rolster and that the blind Otacon steal also happened versus KT Rolster. That would be because these two things happened in the same series. A series that T1 would go on to dominate, qualifying them for MSI. Who would win match MVP? Also Doran. That's just who he is. Due to the LCK's new format, T1 didn't get a chance to play Gen.G on the road to MSI, but they didn't have to wait long.
Finals, baby.
T1 got excruciatingly close to winning this MSI, but lost both the winners finals and the grand finals in 5 games to guess who, before losing 3-2 to them again in the summer playoffs, finishing 4th and once again just barely sneaking in the Worlds. The thing is, we'd all seen the T1 formula by now. No matter how tough their summer split was, they couldn't be counted out at Worlds.
Warren going in, doesn't connect, hook shot, wall dive, immediately CC'd. Exhaust coming in as well. Combo over the top from Guma! Finds 2! Exhaust is carrying, moves his way to the backline. Faker rains down from the sky.
By the way, I gotta say real quick, just hearing Draco's cast again. He's been on sabbatical for however long it was at the beginning of this month, from the end of Worlds till just recently. Bro, I missed his casting so much. I love his cadence. I love the way he speaks. I love everything about it. And Draco, thank God you're fucking back, man. I missed you so much. You have no idea.
Locks up BDD and obliterates the hope for KT Rolster. Taking away the Frost Armor passive. Lockdown from Carrier is there. TP in from Doran as well. All teams going across the board. BDD cut off the side. A good flash to take him out. Guma has to be careful, but he's so damn fast. Owner, we got up BDD. He goes gold in an extra 2.5 seconds to consider what went wrong as T1 looks set to end it all.
The first ever Worlds three-peat in League.
And the Game 5 Bolt Smolder bitch pick, too. BDD loses with the Game 5 mid Smolder bitch pick. That feels good. That feels good as shit. Come on now.
League of Legends history, and as usual, T1 had done it in the most T1.
Hey. Loker, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated.
One way possible, beating their sworn rivals KT Rolster 3-2 in a Telecom War World Finals. It just feels like they've got plot armor at this point. Just another day at the office for them. Now, a lot of fuss has been made over the years about the T1 Worlds lock-in, but the funny thing is that taking a look at their 2025 Summer versus Worlds, it doesn't really manifest statistically in anything other than Drake and Baron control. In fact, their early game stats actually got worse. It seems like at this Worlds, T1 was comfortable with their meta read and were happy to just scale into the mid and late game where they felt confident they could out-teamfight pretty much anyone in the world, which is exactly what happened. In the offseason, Gumayushi would leave the team and be replaced by Pays, which brings us to their present-day lineup of Doran, Owner, Faker, Pays, and Keria. It's too soon to evaluate this roster compared to the others, but now that we're all caught up, let's rank every T1 roster from worst to best. Something.
What do you think is the bigger change, Doran for Zeus or Guma? Oh, without a question, Zeus Doran. Without a question, Zeus is like, we don't appreciate how good he is. Like, Pays is a god, I'm not denying that, but like, if he's a god, then Zeus is immortal. Like, Zeus is just that guy. Oh, I just kicked my mouse off the thing. Shit. Like, we genuinely do not give enough respect to how good Zeus is as an individual. It's crazy. Him and Keria. If T1 ever lost Keria, it's fucking rip. But what I'm hoping, and this is my prediction, a little like too early on for Worlds. I hope it works out to be the case, and it's going to be very reliant upon the bracket, like giving us some luck. I hope we get Hanwha Life and T1 on opposite sides of the bracket and they meet in finals. It would be legendary. Legendary. HLE versus T1, all 5 parts of the legacy roster facing off against each other in oh my god, dude. I'm trying to manifest this so much because I want to see it happen. Hanwha Life coming in as the dude, I'm telling you, it would be unbelievable. It would be insane. Best series ever. Before it even starts, the hype leading up to that week would be crazy. The trailers you can make, the scripts you can write for it are just unparalleled. Like, in a perfect world, that if we're not going to have a North American team in finals, to be very clear, because obviously I'd rather, have anyone at all. If we didn't have North America, that's what I want. Sorry, LPL. It's just not your time. Give me Hanwha Life versus T1.
That I am sure will not be controversial at all.
Oh, it will be.
The worst roster on our list is an easy call. It's
2020.
Gotta be the Poby roster. All the other teams on this list were
or 2023. Never mind. Wait. 6. Oh, because, well, I guess because Faker subbed in, so
competing at some point in the year for either an LCK title or a world title. This team didn't even crack a winning record, and they weren't anywhere close. It's almost unfair to have them on the list, but it just underscores how crazy their Worlds 2023 run really was. At number 5, we're going to go with their final 2021 spring roster.
Okay, so it's all just this decade then. Okay, if 2023 is now marred, then you probably got to also Demon XP. Thank you for the follow. If you're it's going to be 2022 spring then, isn't it? Versus what? It's only talking about rosters that this decade basically. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 or 2020 I guess will be in there. 2020 will probably be up higher than 2020. I'd imagine 2020 will be right
of Kana, Cuz, Faker, Teddy, and Keria.
Maybe.
I think if they'd had more time to actually play as a 5-man unit, they would have been a lot stronger, but they also didn't really achieve too much together. In 4th place, it's the very first T1 roster in 2020. I struggled a bit whether to put them 5th or 4th because while on one hand they did win the LCK, which the roster above never did, they also collapsed horribly and missed Worlds. So, not great. 3rd,
I just don't like, we got a 2020 season 20. I don't like the separation between like spring, summer, and then season because then it makes it feel like you're missing out on rosters. That's like for a tier list. That's the only part. Next up is going to be 2025.
We've got the second half of their 2021.
See, this is what I mean. Or oh no, it's just the different generations. Oh, wait. So it's just the combination of players then? Okay, it's the combination of players that like went to
roster that went to Worlds. Kana, Owner, Faker, Gumayushi, and Keria. They came together pretty late in the year, and they were just one win away from taking down the defending world champions Damwon Kia, who themselves were just a few games away from a golden.
Well, the title's not. It's just the greatest team in league. T1 is the greatest team in league history. That's just clickbait. It's good clickbait too.
Road that year, a very impressive showing for the Young Guns. In second,
up next will be Doran, Owner, Faker, Gumakeria.
It's the defending world championship roster. DOFGK completed the three-peat for T1 and had a great MSI, but the sequel roster never really hit the same highs as the original, either in the LCK or internationally. By finishing off the three-peat, they'll always have a special place in League of Legends history, but it's impossible to put them over the team that got them those first two titles. And without further ado, the #1 team on this list that you could have seen coming a mile away, Zeus, Owner, Faker, Gumayushi, and Keria.
Yeah, and that is, without a doubt, the greatest roster that has ever been assembled in LoL esports. I stand by that statement. Longevity plays into it. Were they the most dominant ever? No. There were earlier renditions of T1 that were more dominant, for sure. But the longevity and how long they did what they did for is fucking crazy. And cannot be discounted. Highest peak? Some of the early, like Samsung White's peak was fucking crazy. I mean, I wasn't there for it, but just reading back on it was pretty insane. But the thing that you have to take into account with this roster is just there again. It is one thing to peak high for a tournament. It is another thing to have sustained greatness on the world stage when everybody's rosters are designed to beat you. That's their whole intent. Like it's different. You are just different. And we are blessed. Like I hope people understood and took time after the roster did break up to appreciate how good we had it for so many years. If you had to put any NA player on this and still win, who would it be? Give me Dokla in the top side. I'm not changing out Guma. Guma was way too clutch in these worlds to the point where I don't trust double lift. But I think you can put Dokla up there, and Dokla can do the bare minimum needed to get it done. You can't replace Faker. You cannot replace Owner. You cannot replace Keria. It is just Guma or Zeus that you were talking about. And I don't think Guma, how he played in those Worlds Finals, nah. It has to be Zeus for Dokla and the rest of and Dokla can team fight. It's the only one that I can think of. That's it.
3 World Finals in 3 years, 1 MSI Final, 5 LCK Finals and 6 splits, and enough star power to become what has to be the most popular team in the history of competitive League of Legends.
Oh, without
You
doubt.
just can't make any other choice here. The only real knock against this roster, and it is a real knock, is that they only had 1 LCK title in 3 years. And while yes, they should have won more, that Gen G team has been a force of nature domestically. However, I bet if you asked Gen G if they could trade all those domestic titles over the last couple years for T1's 3 world championships,
they would in a heartbeat.
That's a pretty tough offer to refuse. And they're
pretty tough. It's impossible, dude. It's literally impossible. You would take the world's titles all day. Dude, that's a milli paycheck. That's at minimum a milli paycheck for each of those world skins. Yeah, you're taking it. What does winning the LCK get you? Ooh, got a nice trophy. It's fun. I'm not trying to devalue domestic play before people come at me. I appreciate domestic play for what it is. But if we're being dead ass here and you tell me I can win worlds and get a skin with my name on it that also gets me $1 million in my pocket, fuck yeah, I'm picking the world's trophy. It's not even close. The incentives are nowhere near aligned. Nowhere near aligned. It's not even close.
There you have it. Every T1 roster since the rebrand ranked. The jury is still out on this new 2026 lineup, but they're on a very T1-ish track so far with a 4th place finish in the LCK Cup and a very strong start to spring. Data doesn't lie, and we'll keep an eye on SAP's data as the year goes on, because while there's still plenty of time for T1 to fall down, there's always enough time for them to get back on their feet. Because if there's one thing that we've learned about T1, it's that it's never over until somebody lifts the Summoner's Cup.
Here's the problem. Here's the issue for this version of T1 now that they haven't ever had to deal with in years past. Like last year, you had Zeus that was on Homo Life, like setting the tone, setting the culture there. But there still were not enough people on that roster that I think understand the moment of Worlds. And if you're telling me that we have Worlds again in North America, hang on. No, I didn't want that. I want... Where's the rosters? Ugh, come on. Oh, well. Either way, I can just make this point without it. I don't need anything on screen. You're telling me that a Homewood Life roster that has Zeus and Guma on there, so they know how to win Worlds. They've been there. Guma is also a defending champion right now. You throw in Zeka, who's performing incredibly well, and won Worlds the last time it was here in North America. Yeah, dude, Homo Life's going to be scary. People are... Now that Homo Life has won MSI, I think people are finally going to start to, like, understand the gravity of the moment that is going to be stealing 2/5 of that legacy roster. It's going to be wild. And I'm telling you, if Riot was smart, they should never rig any draws. Everything should always be... This is a hypothetical dream scenario. Rig it so that T1 and Homo Life are on opposite sides of the Worlds bracket. That's their pathway irrelevant. Just make sure they're on opposite sides. That way they can play and try and earn their chance to face up against each other. Because a Homo Life T1 Worlds Finals would be... It would break the internet. It would break every record. It would shatter expectations. It would just... People aren't ready for that series if it were to happen. We could see it in the LCK as many times as you want. You can see it in LCK finals. It'll be entertaining. But a Worlds Finals, the weight of the moment, the opening ceremony with all of them there, the trophy coming up, the players lifting up, the walkouts. Nah. That'd be different. It'd be special. It would be one for the history books and all set in motion because of that 2021 T1 roster. T1 to get rid of LPL teams. Homo Life can beat them now as well. I genuinely think Homo Life has enough pieces to be able to beat the LPL at Worlds. I do. Anyways, it is 11:16. I got to get a shower, get ready to go to bed. I have work in the morning that I got to be in the office for. If you guys haven't checked out the overreactions video that's up on YouTube right now, feel free to do so. Wednesday, the next video that I'll have will be about EWC, just tracking what that's going to look like. Because in case you haven't seen it, by the way, I mean, all these times are domestic, but like we can zoom. Oh, thank God. Never mind. It's down at the bottom here. Games at locally our time start at 5 a.m. here on the East Coast, and the day will wrap up around like 1 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is when I get home from work on Wednesday, I'll be home around like 6-ish. I will probably at that point, I will record a video just like talking about the highlights from the day, what you need to know. We'll be playing JDG. We'll probably have a second matchup on the day if I had to guess. But a lot of stuff to go over. Also, Sentinels kicks it off versus Team Secret Wales. Or Team Secret. So should be fun. Long week ahead. Lot of stuff happening this weekend. And who all's in? So Lions group was what? It's Lion, JDG, Humble Life, and Los. Bro, what a freaking, dear God, what a freaking bracket. And then Sentinels is Team Secret, Carmine, Corp, Genji. Sentinels has the chance to do the funniest thing in the world. Dear God. I mean, I'm sure the players will be happy. How much money is on the line for this? What is it? EWC LOL prize pool. Fun fact, this video was supposed to come out immediately after T1 G2. Oh, that would have been crazy. Oh, God, that would have been crazy. $2 million, by the way, is spread out for this tournament for winning it across the 16 teams. What's 2 million? What's the average payout? Crazy. Anyways, I gotta get to bed. Yeah, I gotta get to bed. I don't think there's anything else we're saying. All right, hey, you ready to go outside? Ready to go potty? All right. I will catch you all later. Thank you for tuning in, Manny. Great video. I don't think I actually, before I forget, let me drop a like on that video. Because if I forget, I'm going to be mad at myself because I want to make sure I like it. And good on us, by the way. I didn't make
6 world champions.
That was a 31-minute video that we made last an hour and 20 minutes. Unlike the 18-minute video, which took us an hour to get through. So there's that. Hey, we got better. We got better at getting through it. But, all right. I will catch y'all later. I'm heading out. See you Wednesday. I'll probably be live later in the night.